Welcome back, everybody. I am Rivington Business III, and taking over the caster desk with me is my launchpad McQuack to my Darkwing Duck, Joshua Jat Leesman.
Thank you very much, Riv. That was a nice intro.
That's what I love. The pieces are set now and polished for our next match of the day. It's FlyQuest versus Immortals, as you heard Dash say, but with a brief resurgence in Week 5, it is now or never for FlyQuest to fight for a playoff spot.
Yeah, so currently, FlyQuest are 3 matches away from 6th place, and they need to pick up quality wins if they want to claim the playoff spot. Remember, they were in the semifinals last split, so this might be their best week to get back in the standings. If remember, back in the day, think old school Cloud9, High Lemon and Balls, they were really fast at adapting to patches. There's a lot of things that have changed on this most recent patch, so they kind of got to flex their adaptation muscle, so to speak, use LemonNation's notebook and get some good champs.
Adapting, but really being the ones to show new things. They were the guys to break open the ice. With first place now on the line, Immortals, however, cannot afford to be caught off guard by any of that.
Yeah, Immortals obviously have the patch to think about, but they also have the rematch versus COG on Sunday that could be a mono-a-mono match for first place. If they win this, they'd both be tied for first. But before they can think about that match on Sunday, they need to prove that they've adapted to the patch well in this match today.
We'll see how they have adapted as we are about to get into match in just a few moments. Xmithie on your screen here, been a very pivotal portion of Immortals season coming in, a voice that they can listen to with all of the skill they had on the team. They just didn't know where to put it in the strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can notice, these are not Immortals normal jerseys. Those are tribute jerseys for Chester Bennington, the Linkin Park singer who had ties to the organization. So Immortals showing some respect with those shirts, but they also got to keep their mind on the games today. FlyQuest and then COG, obviously, later tomorrow.
Absolutely. The end of the season is only going to get tougher with these matchups and every team grinding out for the victories. Let's check out the starting lineups as we do get onto the Rift. On the blue side, it is FlyQuest. In the top lane, it is Balls. Look at the flex. Gonna see if he can do that. Moon in the jungle. High coming into mid, getting the roam on. WildTurtle at bot with LemonNation at support and Coach ThinkCard.
And on the red side, it is Immortals. We got Flame in the top lane, Xmithie in the jungle, Pobelter in mid lane, Cody Sun and Olleh wreaking havoc in that bottom lane this split, and Coach Song.
Yeah, look at all those guys, larger than life on stage and ready to do the same thing on the Rift as we get into picks and bans. We've seen a little bit of a switch up for what FlyQuest has been trying to do. They've also been saying we're looking at kind of a new formula for strat calling and the way we do things in game. And some of that has been showing, but the wins still kind of falling to the wayside. Been able to pick up a few more, though.
Yeah, I think WildTurtle has played pretty well for FlyQuest. I think he's stepped up in a lot of individual games. And, I mean, if that TSM Dignitas series was an indication, there are stuff like Sivir and Janna that could come through. I think LemonNation is the one to hop on the Ancient Coin supports. He was even doing it last week with Morgana, very early Ardent Sensor buys on Sona. That can enable your AD carry to carry a lot more in some situations. But we have to remember, Immortals has been a force this split. There's a reason they are tied for first. So you have no reasons to believe that they wouldn't also be able to play
exactly. I mean, you remember what kind of things Xmithie plays in the jungle. This guy loves tanks. He loves to roam around and always be the first one in the fight to create an opportunity. And there's a lot of that in this meta. We will see what they have for each other and what homework was done as we're in the first phase of bans.
Well, nothing changed with the Elise ban. That is still, even with the tank junglers, people do not like the early presence that champ has in the jungle.
Zach as well, quick Galio hit. A lot of the surefire comfort picks. And obviously those top tier ones getting kicked out. So it is the Maokai quite early. Start to see the AD carries come in now, if all at all. Maybe Caitlyn and Kalista.
Yeah, I think Maokai is absolutely first pickable, so I think that is a smart ban. Thresh is also something that Olleh has been tremendous on this split, something LemonNation hasn't been as successful on, and even though Caitlyn has received nerfs, still has ridiculous laning strengths.
Yeah, always very nice to be safe in the lane. The Cho'Gath has taken immediately as it being one of the very formidable picks, but not finding himself too much on the ban list yet. So a lot of people getting experience and time with him on the Rift. Kalista Rumble is the answer for Immortals.
Yeah, people are still trying to figure out exactly what they should be banning on this patch.
Right.
Only because they still have the holdovers of the Elises or the Zacs that you're used to banning, but now there does seem to be a lot more that you would want to pick in almost all of these games. Cho'Gath, I think, is better in the jungle, but it can be moved top lane as well if they want.
is next. WildTurtle has been loving the Jhin. Obviously, Kalista taken. We have seen the Sivir and the Triss, though, but he shies away from that for the time being. What will the last pick here for first phase of FlyQuest? Camille's seen quite a few bans lately. Waiting to see that play. Back in the game, she is.
Yeah, so if we're wondering where Cho'Gath was going to go, our questions have just been answered. Most likely, Camille top lane, Cho'Gath jungle, and then the Jhin. And Jhin has fallen under a little bit of criticism this patch because people have been picking him into compositions that have enemy Cho'Gaths and Maokais, and you can't cut through that with Jhin. But since they have Maokai banned and they are the ones controlling Cho'Gath, I think the Jhin is pretty safe.
We're getting some Kennen supports.
We are.
I like it. Unless Pobelter takes it mid, which I doubt it, but we are definitely getting some Kennen supports. One yesterday and today, the Kalista Kennen seems to be a taster's choice here within the meta once again.
Yeah, picked pretty early here as well. It was something that emerged in the LCK. We saw Gorilla have a game on it. We got to see it yesterday. And this just kind of tells you that it has been making its rounds in the North American LCS scrim scene, so to speak, especially with Thresh off the table. If you want another thing to partner up with Kalista for a nice Fate's Call combo, Kennen's your guy.
LeBlanc, Jace. That is actually Pobelter's Jace, most likely. Flame has, I was going to say Flame has top lane.
Yeah.
So,
there's an odd,
Corky out.
There's a small chance you would see a Rumble in the jungle, but
this is true.
Still pretty unlikely. There's still a ton of flexibility, technically, in Immortals team composition right now.
So a lot of mid laners getting hit here to end the second phase of bans. What does Immortals answer with? First pick for them as they come out of this.
Yeah, they probably want to save their mid lane pick for last, and if they're guessing the Camille is top lane, they would be picking their top laner right now, but they opt not for that. Instead, they're going Taliyah as a bit of a mid lane power pick. I guess not wanting to give too much roaming power that could help a Camille snowball. Really odd draft phase so far.
Oh. 5 seconds. High waiting to lock in. The hands of Turtle.
Sure.
AS is gonna lock in the Twisted Fate global pressure?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Twisted Fate locked in, so now they can really spread this. Camille pushing one side, a big tank with the team in the middle, and High doing what he wants on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when I talk with other people about how you would, like, why don't we see Twisted Fate? People say, because Taliyah does his job better.
Yeah?
What does Twisted Fate want to do? Shove up mid lane, roam to side lanes. Taliyah, you do that, and then Taliyah also gets to wall off objective control. But if Taliyah's already taken, then sure, you can pick that as we get to see a coin support for LemonNation, which is what we expected. But I also kind of wonder...
Oh my word.
Poppy was known as a bit of a Camille counter earlier on in the Camille days, but we haven't seen Poppy at all this split.
Or Twisted Fate.
What I do find interesting, Riv, about all this patch 7.14 talk is it only touched a finite amount of champions, yet everyone is now just kind of, since they're innovating, I guess, and since they're trying new stuff, they're just thinking, well, what else should we try? You can't really blame patch 7.14 for why Twisted Fate is back, right? The mid lane didn't get changed, or you look at the TSM series, why are they picking Xerath and Jax? That has nothing to do with the meta right now, but these teams are definitely switching it up in this week. And you talk about FlyQuest being people to try and bring out new stuff. Janna, even though it was played in the series before, is not something you see that much of. I think it's very strong. Cho'Gath, I think, is incredibly strong. And Twisted Fate is something that gets a little bit outclassed by Taliyah, but still has a place.
It's back as well. Like we said, the TF comes back as the first play for this summer split. High is going to bring that out. But those little things as well. You bring the Cho'Gath silence back. You stay a little too long, and High comes back up. He has Twisted Fate also. You can get caught while you're leaving. Yeah. These little things all come into play if you haven't gone against it that recently. Hashtag fly win, hashtag Immortals win as we head into game.
Yeah, definitely got a lot of intrigue with champion select in this one. And one thing I do like about Twisted Fate with Cho'Gath is the reliability of the gank. You bring Ghost on Twisted Fate, you lock a gold card, you run towards the dude, you hit him with the gold card, you hit the Rupture. That's why Pobelter is forced into bringing Cleanse, but they're going to be trying to get those summoner spells out of Pobelter pretty quickly, and I think that would be a reason to pick Twisted Fate even over Taliyah if you were going to be jungling Cho'Gath, just for the gank assist.
It's one of the easier things about TF in lane as well, is you're regularly gold carding. So it doesn't actually look like an aggressive move once you do that. You can usually catch your opponent off guard, get that quick flash, and maybe we'll get a rinse and repeat here. All easier said than done. They start things off, and we'll see if they can actually get these results. Infernal Drake will be first, so that'll actually put a little spice on the map. We start things off in the early game. And again, see a few more of these Doran's rings for the Jhins as we saw yesterday versus these swords. Not too much of a change. Good for the early game.
Yeah, I do think it's, the more I see it as well, I think it's pretty good. For those of you who are still curious why you would ever bring Doran's ring on Jhin, we've talked about this. Dancing Grenade, Jin's Q, has an AP ratio on it. So you're not actually losing damage going Doran's ring over Doran's blade. Secondarily, Jhin does run into some mana constraints in lane, and the passive of Doran's ring, giving you 4 mana every time you kill a unit, allows Jhin to spam much more in lane, which just sets up a lot of good things. Not to mention you're probably just going Duskblade anyway. It's a bunch of longswords, right? And just because he has those AP ratios on his Q and his E, and he's not even really a champion that would scale with attack speed like another marksman, it doesn't cost him later in his build either. So it's just a stronger laning phase item that allows him to use more spells in lane.
Nice little Wind Speaker shield to get out, or I should say Storm Shield to get out. He has Wind Speakers. Thunderlords in mid for high. This goes for the damage. Pobelter on Taliyah running that Storm Raider Surge, getting more speed as Olleh takes control of the brush on the bot side. I think Turtle and Lemon are ready to kind of take this poke here. They just have to be careful about how much they take.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a difficult laning phase for them unless they can get some good ganks converted or Turtle gets some really good harass off, just because we've seen this Kennen Kalista lane, the double ranged harass, especially with Kalista to give you that % health damage on the Kennen auto attacks is pretty obnoxious to deal with. So expect Cody Sun and Olleh to win this lane. It's just a matter of how much will they win at 5.
Oh. Awesome. Keeping the passive ones up, but also making sure he's got enough room to keep that damage going as well. Olleh playing that one slow and whittling Turtle down. Pressure to high in the mid lane. Actually cycles past gold. Almost cost him his life as Pobelter gets a few last shots in. High's got to play careful now.
Got to be really careful to dodge those seismic shoves in lane. Would have been disastrous if High fell right there to Pobelter. So does have his potions though. Should be able to stick around a bit longer, but doesn't want to leave the laning phase this early. I mean, at that point, when he ate the harass, he wouldn't have even had enough for a second Doran's ring.
Xmithie cruising around. Not the jungler I'd expect him to pick, but very interesting. Has the mechanics to do so. You just usually see him on the tank, the one ready to initiate. This time he'll be equalizers, and Pobelter looking to take advantage in mid. I can't equalize much of this fight so far, and he just continues to push him in, calling for help from Moon.
Hello, Xmithie.
Xmithie now has to ask for pressure from the bot lane. Flashing into the wall, confuses the opposing team, and they run away.
Yeah, cheeky invade there. He saw Moon show up in the mid lane, so he thought he'd be able to get the Krugs down. And that is something we didn't talk that much about in Champion Select, is the fact that the Rumble was actually flexed to the jungle. We talked about the possibility of it, but the fact that it actually happened to put the Poppy up against the Camille, we'll have to see if that pays off as well, right? Will Flame be able to be that counter pick to the Camille as a Poppy? A lot of the interactions work in Poppy's favor.
Yeah.
You throw the Steadfast Presence, you block the wall jump from Camille. Not to mention, as far as like who would win the battle, so to speak, you can knock.
You just blast her out of her ultimate.
With your Keeper's Verdict on proper, you knock Camille out of her on ultimate. So a lot of things that Poppy can do against a Camille that are pretty effective.
Actually, thinking about that as we were going over kind of the scenarios, Flame may just be like ready to target Moon, because if the Cho'Gath isn't in this fight, the fight kind of goes away. Like, you see everybody always roaming around this Cho'Gath for so long. Eyes on mid once again, though. As High is not having fun. Both summoners blowing actually on that engage, holding them before. It's only getting harder for him.
Yeah, Pobelter has been crushing High in pressure, but CS is still pretty close. So High has at least been able to get CS, even if he's not dodging those seismic shoves. That should equalize a little bit, you'd think, here, as they're going for another recall pattern. Also notice the first buys. High goes Dark Seal Boots, whereas Pobelter goes double Doran's refillable. So more damage on Pobelter's side, but a little bit more mobility on High side, hoping to walk up and land some gold cards when he does have gank assist.
Expect about a wave or so to be in favor of Cody Sun and Olleh in this bot lane. Already just about 10 CS in the lead. You can see High's CSD's damage throughout his weeks of the LCS.
Yeah, very slow start to the split for FlyQuest and High. Slight resurgence in the last 4 matches. Still not where he wants to be, though. High has memories of being a top mid in the North American LCS. Still says he can get back to that point.
Right now, brutal. Pobelter has given him a case for it. He has to answer. Gold card comes up. Pobelter has to back off. And it looks like they're going to get a little bit more help here. They say even if Moon's there, we can drop Pobelter, or I'm sorry, High fast enough. But they're just headed down towards the bot side. No gank to be had here.
Yeah, they're still trying to play around the pressure of that lane. Olleh doesn't want to show. He's going to clear this control ward, leaving way for Xmithie's Rumble.
Wondering, they don't see where Lemon is just for a moment. Now they actually have him. Lemon on the left side. And they're going to focus all their damage onto Turtle here. Scrap shield from Xmithie as he gets the burn down. Might not be able to get a dive in as Lemon blocks that second harpoon. A nice escape there. The vision was denied, and FlyQuest started to play a little timid.
Yeah, 3 summoner spells for 2. I think they were hoping to get a very early flash out of WildTurtle so that Xmithie could get his Flame Spitter down, but I don't actually think that gank was meant to kill. I think it was mainly meant to get the summoner spells, since the level 6 from Kalista Kennen is so strong that if they can jump on Turtle without flash, then they think surely they'll be able to get the win.
Really just putting the pieces in place. 6 and 7 here for the top side, so the teleports will be big. And we just saw Balls use his. Xmithie still stays in the jungle. That lane was pushed, so Immortals have a bit of pressure from the bot side as well. As they start to invade High now, Summoner's down, gets hit, 1 harpoon, 2. The flash forward as Pobelter grabs first blood. Bramble going over to Immortals.
High is just getting hit by... I mean, I'm assuming he's not getting hit by all the off-camera ones, but all of the on-camera seismic shoves have hit High. That's about the 5th or 6th one I've seen land.
Yeah, that's a good
in
point,
the laning
though.
phase. Pobelter destroying High in that lane. Not in CS, but the first blood could turn ugly. It's the map pressure that's happening on top of this. Immortals bold enough to invade when their jungler's not level 6, but the enemy jungler is. Hits him with another seismic shove. Xmithie gets both harpoons over the wall, making the flash followed by Pobelter. An easy kill.
And that ward that was walked over by High was placed quite a bit ago, as we saw the cooldown timer on it. So, as we said, these things slowly being put into place. We're still waiting for the activation of that level 6 here on the bot side. Support's waiting. Very close at about just 80% of their experience. Top side, 71 to 64, and you can see Balls has that CS to clean up right there. Pretty even. Is the roam here for Flame, though, as he gets a bit of vision, and this knowledge will be good. They know where Moon is, maybe able to do something else.
Yeah, I mean, Immortal Soul Lane's doing a lot to just create pressure for this team. See both these AD carries. WildTurtle having a decent split on FlyQuest, even if the results aren't necessarily following through. Cody Sun as well, who was a rookie last split, playing much like a veteran this split.
Him and Olleh as the combination, as well as when Olleh has to leave lane. Seen a little bit more from Cody Sun as well. His own play. Still waiting for Moon to charge up on this Cho'Gath. Haven't seen too much from that. Actually, mid lane pressure. Pobelter's been able to deliver it. Moon's presence there has been kind of just as a security guard, not really to get a gank onto Pobelter. That flash is coming back up for High. They may try to get something onto Pobelter since he just used his, so eye for an eye, flash for a flash. We'll see if they try to get that kill back. Support war.
Yeah. Miraculously, Janna wins the short trade, but the long trade would go to Kennen if he continues.
Cut in. Scryer's Bloom hit by Pobelter, so they know the majority of FlyQuest is on the bottom side of that map. A lot of things going down here, and they may just try to force High top side out of the lane. Flame Balls back and forth in a quick fight. don't know if much will come from this. Actually, Pobelter dives in to cut the team off. They have at least LemonNation. Monsoon is up for the heal and the push away. It seems like the team knows it as well. There's not too much of a follow.
Oh, Flame going for a solo kill.
Oh,
the block.
Very nice. Steadfast presence on the chain. He can't get away. The solo kill for Flame on the ball.
The switcheroo pays off in the laning phase up top for Immortals. Flame able to, with the Bomby Cinder and Health Crystal, get a solo kill onto Boss's Camille. Xmithie not doing too shabby with the jungle rumble either. Blocking the hook shot with the steadfast presence. That's the interaction we talked about. And then just flash following, taking Camille's mobility away from her. And then just winning the toe-to-toe of the stats battle. Watching this one more time. Ball's already a little low. Flame throws, gets the shield, doesn't even need a wall stun, but gets both parts of his Q to detonate. Knocks him up, and now, going for it.
More ultimates down on the bot side. Monsoon just used, but still enough ground to be covered by Fate's Call to take that one out. They even get to hold the summoner spells. So Immortals comes up with another kill. 3-0 here as things start to heat up.
Yeah, we'll have to see if FlyQuest can hold on throughout this kind of early game barrage that Immortals has thrown at them. Pobelter's been bullying high in mid lane, Flame solo kill balls, bottom lane.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, that's real bad.
Sword out. Taunting guys, he's gonna do it in enough time too.
Pobelter's cracking up about that one. He's like, I've just ulted back to his turret. I mean, it's worth it for high. He was dead to rights if he didn't do that, but that lane definitely not going his way.
And a lot of what he's building that cooldown, trying to utilize for what would be the longer fights, the continuous lockdowns. Pobelter's only given him a chance for about one spell reel with the amount of power and control he has over the lane. 115 to 92 in CS. It looks like they have enough power to get this very, very low.
Yeah, and with all this, though, it's still only 1,400 gold. That's a couple of kills or a kill into a good turret push for FlyQuest, and they would be back in the game. It's just a matter of finding a window where they can actually pressure, which hasn't been coming their way.
A little back and forth. Moon in the back pocket of high to keep him safe. There's repeat ganks to him in the mid lane. I mean, why not? Look at the speed Pobelter has from Storm Raider Surge on his work ground. High cannot match any of these wild cards to that speed.
Yeah, this is brutal in the mid lane. I mean, he's got the magic penetration. High has no magic resist, so even without hitting the seismic shove, they're just hitting him down with the threaded volley has been enough. Pobelter really putting on a display this game.
Looks like he'll actually be able to get quite a bit of solo gold to turret himself. The team pings careful, said forget about it. We'll play the map, we need to gain control. As Immortals now can start to push that vision forward. 5,900 as solo gold comes in to 43 in that mid lane.
Yeah, High trying to shake this one off because it's been a rough early laning phase. Moon trying to turn something around in the jungle.
Oh, there's turned around. The bite's not going to actually cancel him out. Storm Raiders keeps him alive. He just goes down to the shot of Turtle. Getting some kills on the AD carry is going to be big. And it looks like Immortals going to have to pull back out of this when the teleport from balls coming in. He cancels that one.
Those are the types of plays that if Immortals were to overcommit to could bring FlyQuest back into the game, but they get out with just one death. They also gain TP advantage onto Flame there because Balls was hoping to turn it into more, hoping that Immortals would commit.
Look at the damage on the top turret as well. Things being set in motion right now. If Immortals win a good fight on the bot side, or if it's a Rift Herald right to the top of that turret, a lot of things to choose from. We'll see what happened in this engage.
Yeah, I mean, Xmithie just underestimated the Cho'Gath. He got ruptured, silenced, and then hit by a deadly flourish from a Ghostblade Jhin, so took way more damage than he thought he would.
Good call on Moon's back, able to start stealing the resources right out from FlyQuest nose, and that's going to cut down on High's wave clear just a bit. See what Immortals will even want to leave this lane, farming up quite well. They can just keep the pressure onto the rest of FlyQuest. Next Drake is a Mountain, so why not keep that turret up for now? Mountain would be a good fight.
Annoying little harpoon coming from Xmithie. Not farming that well, actually, on the jungle rumble when compared to Moon's Cho'Gath, but applying a lot of map pressure, just getting deep wards over and over again, augmenting his already strong solo lanes. It's been mostly the Pobelter show, but
yeah,
not to understate what Flame has done in the top lane here with Poppy.
It's kind of like, has this Rumble jungle been amazing for Xmithie? I don't know. Pobelter's been doing great in mid lane. He hasn't had to do much. Sure, Xmithie's been having a great time, though, able to come up the backside of these kills, pick up some for himself. Flame doing what Flame does on the top side so far on this Poppy pick. As we see this new meta start to take a turn for some teams.
Yeah, this one is just a bit of a wild game because the new meta pick, so to speak, would be the Cho'Gath and the Janna, but it doesn't mean just randomly see Poppy top and TF mid and Rumble jungle. All this stuff not prop open for us.
But does it?
Yeah, but
maybe we're just on the wrong side. No, just kidding. Yeah. A little fight towards the bot side. Try brush. A little too hectic there as the Fate's Call saves Olleh, but that just means they can fight another day. This combination is so powerful from Kennen Kalista. Scryer's Bloom. It's been Pobelter's friend the whole game. He walks down as soon as it's up. He's actually got that timer, it seems. Continues to deny any of that pressure towards the bot side they're trying to get.
Yeah, FlyQuest really just trying to hold on as long as possible. LemonNation completed his support item really early. He's actually already gained 1,000 gold from it. Just for comparison, Olleh sat on Spell Thieves for a really long time, which is the tier 1 gold generation on him, which doesn't generate as fast. Only got about 570 gold from it. So this is what I talk about when I'm saying the ancient coin supports just get so much more money, because you upgrade it early, you just get a bunch of gold from the coin drops, and this was a lane that was pushed in as well, so he couldn't get all of the coins as the Janna. Twisted Fate as well, just gets extra gold from his passive.
Yeah.
So if FlyQuest just keep it stalled out for a long period of time, they could theoretically see a window back in the game. But Immortals is a #1 team for a reason. They generally don't let teams stall out to late game.
As they pressure you into objectives already, having Scuttle. Seems like that's actually wearing off right now as I say it. Scryer's Bloom is blasted back over the Dragon. Rift Herald in the hands of Xmithie. So as we said, this Dragon fight, possibly bottom turret since it's still up. And that would just be the Rift Herald going right through. And they might even be able to get 2 turrets at that point. FlyQuest knows about the pressure though. You can see High and Moon hovering this bottom side the whole time. Flexing those advantages. No contest coming in from FlyQuest. We should see where Xmithie goes. Do they throw a second tier mid and then head bot as well? Look for 2. Gotta use it soon.
And they got the Righteous Glory on Poppy as well, so they can go for some big initiations. Don't quite get him. They can still use that to pressure this bottom side, though, if they so choose.
All right, they say back for now. Won't use it just yet. Maybe the waves aren't in their position that they want them to be. Wait for Flame to get a little more pressure on top side. Baron in 1 minute as well. And they may be able to throw FlyQuest around the map with this Rift Herald towards the bottom side. Not that they'll have tons of damage for Baron this early.
Mountain Drake plus Kalista would be fairly effective in rushing it down. It is hard to Baron against Twisted Fate, though. And Jhin. Twisted Fate gives you the vision. Jhin pokes you really hard while you're in the pit. Nothing necessarily forcing Immortals into going fast. I really do expect them to get that bottom turret sooner rather than later, though. Most likely would be a Rift Herald push. It's just a matter of finding the right window.
Flame sitting on a bit of gold. He will go back and use that. Already Righteous Glory into a Sunfire Cape. We haven't really seen the top laners enter into these fights just yet. Seems like FlyQuest has said, continue the scaling, allow Moon to get bigger, gets High a little bit more gold. Not sure where they would activate though. It's almost like they have to rely on Immortals kind of making a mistake at this point. It'd be very hard for High to lock somebody down off an initiation. Without the team starting it first, that is. Still holding Rift Herald, and bot side. Right up by Tribrush. Should be able to take it out.
It's been nice. This is a good use of the Rift Herald. The minion wave's not there. Rift Herald gets rid of the backdoor bonus on turrets. He's still going to charge and do the same amount of damage to it.
Good slow. Olleh trying to put a wall of wards in with the rest of the team as they actually use their body as those wards, placing down the breadcrumbs on the way out. The second tier is going to happen on the bot side. Flame has moved down to mid, now calling the pressure from Balls that he had on the top side, but it looks like Balls calls an audible, and he will stay. We'll have to see how this plays out for FlyQuest.
Yeah, worst case, you trade turrets, which is okay when you're behind. Best case, you get 1 for 0.
Yep.
As long as they don't get dove, that's the risk, because they are undermanned in a deficit.
Great stop there by FlyQuest on all fronts, and a good push by Balls on the top side here. They're also able to stop and continue helping out these turrets. Flame has to respect that top lane push, so FlyQuest actually able to get a little bit of breathing room here. As long as they don't lose anybody, should be okay.
Yeah, Janna Shields helping out big time on that turret. Twisted Fate wave clear. Traditionally very good at stalling out games. Pobelter finally misses a seismic shove.
On camera.
Yeah.
It's decent as well. Deadly Flourish, bouncing grenades. And the captive audience does mean Jhin can clear waves quickly. They aren't piled up too much. Flame back to lane. And see, actually, the top laners have swapped sides here as Balls protected that bot side. We'll see how this actually works. It looks like Flame's going to do the same thing.
It is the virtue.
Make sure they have their teleport play to top.
Yeah, Flame getting really tanky in this game. Sunfire Cape not as monstrous of a tank item as it would have been in past patches. It's mainly a wave clear item, but the rest of his build coming through pretty huge. One of the reasons Poppy gets so tanky is the Steadfast Presence passively does give extra armor and magic resist. Currently at rank 2, it's 15% of armor magic resist. I believe at max rank, it's extra 30% armor and MR. So you just get more value out of your tank stance because popping. So
It's good.
Really good late game tank ability, which is one thing we kind of talked about. The Jhin would be a good pick because you weren't expecting a very tanky team to come through from Immortals.
Right.
Flame trying to be that one-man super frontline.
I like that tank. It's much better than the old passive of she never dies past a certain amount of damage at low health. Like,
Yeah.
right.
Now she just never dies in general, so
Yeah. There you go.
Poppy,
4-1.
Poppy not really in meta, obviously, right now, but nice counter pick to Camille, as we're seeing from Flame.
Flame says differently. We'll see. Watch it get picked up now. 23 minutes in, we'll see what else Immortals can pick up. And it looks like it might be a little pressure onto Baron. They see where they can start walking FlyQuest. Is it through a path that means fight? It is not yet.
And this is an interesting moment in the game for FlyQuest because previously they've overfought when they're behind, but now Immortals is forcing them into making these decisions. Taliyah cuts them off towards Baron. They can't get in.
Teleport from Camille, flash over, silence, knocked by Cho'Gath, might, and that will be dropped. The rend out from Cody Sun. Olleh puts himself in, Fate's Call can still get the bounce. Low members looking at Xmithie here as WildTurtle steps to the back line. One shot at a Cody Sun, not doing too much, but still the minds being changed of Immortals. After they take this, they need to get out. One kill already coming through onto Pobelter, not the one they really need a Baron on, but now they're going to be losing Flame. The tankiest guy that does want Baron in the side lane goes down, and Immortals lose a few members for the objective.
Not a bad fight from FlyQuest, all things considered. Immortals used a lot of tools to keep them away from the Baron, and we're pretty low by the time this starts. Notice Xmithie is low health. And then the key here is the Janna ultimate from LemonNation does diminish the good equalizer from Xmithie a fair bit.
Yeah.
So heals him up while they're on that. Then Immortals, pretty low resources from that Baron. They immediately get on a Pobelter, which means a lot of the damage is down for them, but they continue this objective force. Get another Drake.
Talk about relentless. Balls in, Hextech ultimatum is down.
Base.
They also don't have
Turtle
Flame
really
Stick.
low.
Flash now out of Xmithie as they start to waste the resources of Immortals.
Teleport in from Flame. They want to flank this.
Looks like he's going to be able to get one. Doesn't want that home guard to be stopped by Moon. He wants to go right by him and try to get to Turtle, but he cannot. He gets locked down. Sees Balls on the backside. They will be able to drop him. The Ignite ticks. He lives, but it's going to be Cody Sun flashing forward. Pobelter as well trying to hold off the exit on the top side as LemonNation tries to draw the team away to help the rest survive.
Portal combat down the stretch. Turn left. Run, Lemon, run. Oh, he wants the solo kill.
Oh.
Here we go. No, it's helping.
Oh, he... Lemon's ult is up in like 5 seconds too. Another fight down mid lane as the supports go coast to coast on that one. With Olleh coming up big, Immortals take down another turret on the map. A 6,000 gold lead, and it only gets bigger. Now 7,000 with 3 Drakes.
Xmithie casually dying to the turrets in the mid lane, by the way. No one needs to pay attention to that. This is where Immortals actually just gain control of the game. And it's because they pushed the tempo. So before this happened, they were still dealing with respawn timers, but they rushed the Infernal Drake, hoping that FlyQuest would overcommit. And FlyQuest did overcommit here. WildTurtle was caught without a retreat path and was flanked by Pobelter there. So they pick up an extended 3 kills off of this and the mid lane turret, actually utilizing the Baron that they picked up before, even if they suffered a few casualties for it.
All right. Let's see if Immortals can push that advantage now, find their way into the jungle, get those wards down. FlyQuest doing a great job at trying to put up kind of a defensive light bright in their jungle, drawing whatever they can from top down. Top side has the vision, bottom side has some regular wards. Here is Immortals coming in. Remember, we did have Flame losing that Baron, so not as much pressure is going to be coming from the side wave. We'll also be able to control that a little bit better.
Yeah, 326 armor on Flame's Poppy.
Jeez.
Notice the Ghost Blade reduces 18 of it. So
You're getting there.
you're getting there. Still 304 armor left on the Poppy. Last Whisper, please. But WildTurtle not there yet. Still wants to get a Zeal item, and then he'll go for Last Whisper. Classic example of why tanks are good against lethality marksmen. Doesn't have much magic resist, but High doesn't have that much damage. So I think Flame itemizing just right for this game.
Few hits. They're stepping out before it gets to the turret, because once it does, it's going to take quite a bit of damage. Back and forth through the jungle, trying to find any stragglers on the side of FlyQuest. Really giving Flame a good bit of pressure here for the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, you would need 20 Ghost Blades worth of lethality to cut through Flame's armor right now.
I love how reckless they can be. Just using your speed steroid right into the enemy team, kind of without vision.
Yeah, still 8,000 gold, but a lot of map pressure here. Pobelter hoping to just... I mean, this is another thing you can do with Taliyah, and I think Immortals is a top-tier team who can pull this off. So with Taliyah, you just move back and forth between turrets, wall off so the other team can't 5v5 you, and use that time to take turrets. If you want to play it slow, you can do it that way most of the time. A little harder with Kalista, who's not very long range to take down turrets. Still doable, though.
They can just go past these turrets at this point. If FlyQuest ever gave them the chance, usually we see a team step out too far in one of these second tiers. FlyQuest has said, well, take it all the way to the base. Try to pinch yourself through the stairwell. Seems where they want that fight. Baron's going to be up in another minute and a half. That matches Ocean Drake, which really isn't one or the other. Everybody be towards the top side of the map. For that one, unless Immortals say, hey, that's 4 Elders if it actually comes to that point. It seems like the game will get to the Elder Drake.
Yeah. Double Infernal as well. Already very good Drakes for Immortals to hold. FlyQuest still in this wave clear pattern. They're pretty much just waiting for those objectives to come up, hoping that they can get some good initiation, mainly onto Pobelter. If they can get him down, the damage, or even onto the Rumble. One thing about jungle Rumble is a lot of times a top lane Rumble would have the Sorkshoes, the Andrews, and the Zonias. The jungle Rumble is just not going to get to Zona there, because he starts ruining Geckos, he still builds the magic pen items. It just takes him so much longer to get there, so you can catch out the Rumble without as much clear. So really, Pobelter or Xmithie, I think the two prime targets, since there's a QSS on the Kalista.
Just about to mention that. It becomes such a good item as well because it's so beneficial for Olleh. Because if Olleh goes in and Cody Sun is stunned, he's like, oh, well, my escape is gone.
Yeah.
So I can't get out. So that actually saved both of them quite nicely. A return on investment for both guys. 8,000 gold lead ticking up here for Immortals. Is 20 seconds left on the Baron. They start to regain control of the top side of the map.
Yeah, they place a bunch of wards down, but very few people actually have control wards. So as you can see, they're going back right now. Love that Cody Sun made inventory space for the control ward as well, something we criticize teams a lot for not doing. They're going to go try and reset those control wards around Baron, maybe even pick up Ocean Drake if they can, but mainly they want Baron control with the Taliyah and the Kalista.
Ocean Drake. Bot lane should get another wave in. And then FlyQuest should be okay on that one, so no worries there. Immortals looking to get this fight. They won't have too much to push after.
And you can just see how lacking FlyQuest is for information. Using the TF ultimate there, when Immortals was still in the setup phase for Baron, shows how little they see.
They have full vision control here. Has to be power in numbers by FlyQuest walking in. They can't do it one by one unless it's just Moon, but even then it's scary. The advantage Immortals has. Using that Banshee fail to the max here, trying to push the limits. Whoa, last shot of the Pobelter. Open up with the curtain call. Flash from Xmithie, but flash from Belter as well to try to save himself. And everything done in defense means FlyQuest is on the offense. Xmithie just dodging out of the wild cards. Deadly flourish over the shoulder of Xmithie as well. Nothing is killed there on the side of Immortals. FlyQuest look to have control.
But Riv, the two people we talked about, FlyQuest needing to hit Pobelter and Xmithie, they get both of them. They don't do quite enough damage in order to be fatal though, so Immortals has just reset. A lot of big spells for FlyQuest down. No more flash on Cho'Gath, no more curtain call. Immortals still has the control wards from last time too. Very close there for FlyQuest, but they don't quite have enough.
That wave as well, piling up to 3, did reach the turret here on the bot side with that extended fight, and did quite a bit of damage on that inhibitor turret. You can see it almost knocked down the mini-map. Let's start Baron once again. Immortals say, you have to march to the beat of our drum right now.
Yeah, I don't think this one FlyQuest can stop either. They just got Twisted Fate Ultimate, but they don't have Cho'Gath Flash anymore, and Balls is pushing the bottom side. So because Immortals didn't quite get picked off, they disengaged. Baron is their reward.
Right back to it. Why not? This time, Flame will have the Baron. It'll be a much different push. The first tier bot side going down. FlyQuest picks up a bit more global gold to start spiking these items. That actually put a needlessly large rod in the hands of High there right before he left base. He might just look to go down and see if they can take out Flame in some sort of situation here.
High with the Void Staff does mean he can start doing some real damage now. Cleanse is down on Pobelter if they were to get another gold card or Rupture onto him. Moon also has the Stone Plate for his Feast. Might be a good finisher on Flame's Poppy if he goes into a fight. Still a gargantuan overall lead for Immortals, but we saw how close the fights can be if the wrong people take the initiation.
See if FlyQuest can get anything done before that Elder Drake, because then you'd be facing the objective team at the objective. FlyQuest looking to put that advantage on the plate now. Xmithie and Olleh together as the Bash Brothers on the bottom side. They get 2 shots coming in from Cody Sun. They were also blasted back from Turtle, and it's a 2-for-1 so far with just Moon going down. Pobelter very low. One last shot. LemonNation sweeps the rug out from under his feet as Balls picks up a kill for himself onto Cody Sun. And now it's Flame trying to keep himself alive. Keeper's verdict, 2 members back, and this one is going for the long haul. Balls should be able to lock him down. But when, Chat? When will it happen? Deadly Flourish misses over the wall, but no connection to Flame's champion for the extra distance there on the hook shot. Here's the chase. Here's the run. There's the extra distance. Sweep hit in.
Maybe.
Slow down by the Zephyr. One more. Last hit. There it is. It's the ace coming in from FlyQuest.
A near perfect fight from FlyQuest. High with the clutch stun onto Xmithie. They blow him up. The giant shields come through from LemonNation's Janna to keep High alive. and Moon tanked the world with his Stone Plate and Locket while that was happening. FlyQuest,
they had to do something too.
Yeah, watching this, Xmithie goes to the flank, but it's just a gold card onto Xmithie. He gets pretty low. And then another gold card. A double cycle on Xmithie plus WildTurtle autoing him. Yes, Moon goes down, but by that point,
another gold card.
They've taken him down. High just staying alive with the Janna shields over and over again. Balls then jumps into the squishies on the backside, starting to turn into that late game Camille. A negative 1,850 gold Baron power play by Immortals from the clutch team fight FlyQuest just pulled off.
Both teams being quite relentless this game. Win or lose, they go right back for the next batting order. And tied up the kills here. The goal's not really meaning much with how many turrets are off the map. Any catch is going to mean basically the rest of your base at this point. It is, however, going to still be about the Elder Drake. 4 dragons for Immortals here, and we said they have the objective team. They're going to have Equalizer, they're going to have the Rend, and they can block off FlyQuest if they get the fight. We'll have to see. FlyQuest put up a very, very good hit on their own mid lane there. So Immortals is going to be a little more timid to walk into that situation.
Yeah, they got to be very careful. They have to respect the Twisted Fate gold card. I mean, we know Xmithie doesn't have Zonius. He can't just walk up to Twisted Fate like that unless they have the initiation coming from elsewhere. Flame needs to be in the front line so that Pobelter and Cody Sun can do the damage if these team fights are to work.
Top just past river. That'll push for Immortals slowly. Bottom's doing the same thing here for FlyQuest. Looks like everybody's going to be meeting mid. Teleport down for balls. So he may have to be running to wherever this fight is with Flame's teleport. He could bump him though if he gets a good hook shot on that teleport play.
Yeah, Flame is super tanky, but if he's not able to 1v1 the Camille, he doesn't create much side lane pressure. Death cap completed by High. At this point, putting it at 533 AP. Back when TF was meta, people would talk about how great he scales in late game, because if you're not building up a lot of magic resist like Pobelter isn't, a gold card lands with a stacked deck and the wild cards throw through you.
Bane.
Oftentimes you die.
Yeah.
He does have Zonias, so he would technically have to Zonias the gold card, but then you're in for a whole bunch of trouble because there's Rupture that can line up right after that Zonias. Immortals now trying to pull off the Taliyah siege.
Righteous Glory hit off. Flame
call it off.
Flex's muscles. Steadfast Presence is on. And they get a little bit of damage on the turret. That was already done by the previous minion wave, so they were basically snuffed out there.
Huh. It's getting pretty worrisome for Immortals as they've controlled the majority of this game. They still have the 4 Elemental Drakes. We talked about how this can be an Elder Drake game.
Yeah.
Immortals need to control that now. I think that's where the game-deciding fight may end up happening. If they get it, the true damage from the 4 Elemental Drake Elder will be most likely too much for FlyQuest to overcome, but just opting into that 5v5 in that area could be what gives FlyQuest a fight to break the game open. Maybe they preempt it though. They're looking for something.
Every time they have a moment to hang out in the jungle, they have, and they've only had a few of these moments. Slicing Maelstrom, Fate's Call is in. Balls completely getting back and healed by the team. Also had the Guardian Angel, so if he did go down, they have the extended fight, and that's the one that has been profiting this team. Really helping High to get more cards out and get the wins in on these fights. Still going for the second tier.
Huge redemption by LemonNation right there, because he has all of the heal and shield amp items. The updated redemption has about 1,000 health when you have the Mikhails as well as the Ardent Sensor going with it. So they're just now in control, it feels like.
There's that 1v1 we've been waiting for. It starts to happen inside the base, and Balls knows 3's a crowd. He starts to head out, but look at that. A 2-man pressure from 1, so the rest of the team can start to take the top side. FlyQuest holding on the entire game from Baron after Baron, and now leave the base of Immortals, turning it into shambles.
This is the risk, though. They just got the double inhibitor, but they could have used Xmithie's Death Timer to take down Elder or Baron. They didn't. Now they're sticking around with a bunch of gold in their pockets, haven't had a time to shop. The Immortals want to fight.
Twisted Fate ult still up. They can't really get caught off guard. Flash is up for Olleh and Fate's Call. That's a huge initiation they have to watch for. These caster minions are doing work on the bot side. They should be able to get that turret.
Really close to getting the turret. Doesn't quite get it with that wave. So Elder Dragon and Baron still up. FlyQuest have won the last several fights. Here they go.
Olleh decides to go in.
It's done.
Right on the backside of him is Cody. And Moon's very low. They start hitting up what would be Olleh. He's out of the fight. His flame goes all the way in, actually trying to work on the equalizer to help the team. Gets taken out by High as he gets the gate in. And the destiny is now
big
for FlyQuest. Deadly Flourish locks another one down, and the wild cards find their target one after the other. We said it was going to be one big ending game fight. FlyQuest makes it 2. The gold card almost coming through, but it's the hook shot from Balls. As they open up the base one more time, FlyQuest gonna be looking for the Nexus.
Never count FlyQuest out of the game. They were down 8,000 gold and 4 Drakes here to Immortals. But fight after fight down the stretch, they come out on top and they take the game.
Making their own pseudo gauntlet style plays. It's like they always got to come from behind. That's just the best way that they know how to do it. FlyQuest weathering the storm. High as well. Showing on screen kind of a bit disgruntled throughout that game. Shaking it off at times and still able to keep the rest of the team in there, make the calls at the end of the game when they needed to around the objective.
Yeah, and High was getting blasted in lane there, getting hit by almost
Pobelter
every one of Pobelter's
phase.
Flame was blasting balls in the top lane, solo killing him. Poppy versus Camille, but the teamwork that came in down the stretch, I do think that Janna and Cho'Gath were big parts of that. The gargantuan Locket Stoneplate shields that were coming in from Cho'Gath, because remember, he gets more bonus health from his ultimate to make that Locket even bigger. So when High was overextending for those gold cards, he get a 2,500 health Locket shield. When that would expire, Janna would shield him, and by that time, he'd cycled 2 gold cards and killed 2 people. The late game composition really came through there for FlyQuest.
Came a lot of single target focus when FlyQuest was able to get away from that Olleh initiation, the Fate's Call. They started to figure it out. Ridiculous. We are, however, going to go ahead and throw it over to the analysts to see what they make of that FlyQuest win.
Thank you very much, Rivington. FlyQuest with a big comeback victory here over Immortals again. Another one of those teams that's in that 3-way tie currently for first place. But looking at how they did it, and considering our discussions throughout the beginning of the day around the patch and the meta developing, I think we know one thing for sure. Poppy top lane, Rumble, Taliyah, Kalista, Kennen is not the meta.
Yeah, we don't know what's the best meta yet, but we know one of them is not probably that good. And one thing I'll say is, like, the Poppy top, I think worked out fine. It's a tank. You saw them use it a couple times. They got a solo kill against the Camille. It's known as a decent counter into it just because you can knock it out of its own ultimate. I can understand that. The Rumble jungle, huge question mark. They're flexing it to get it away from the Camille, I guess, and it just makes the whole team comp so wonky. I like the idea of the Taliyah and the Poppy trying to go get the Camille to shut it down, but similarly, FlyQuest has a common game plan as well, where they want to use the TF to snowball the Camille. And it feels like you end up with this comp where you have some lane dominance and some setup, but when
look, there's a world in which they're so far ahead that they just steamroll over you.
And we almost lived in that world.
Exactly. We were almost there, but of course, FlyQuest was able to mount a couple comeback fights to push themselves further back into the game. And again, you've got that global perspective from these two players, so being able to move across the map and keep up with the globals of Immortals as well. Well played out of FlyQuest in terms of sticking in it. Of course, you would never want to go down that far to begin with in a game.
Right, that's the thing, is that we were saying, like, okay, so, the side lanes with the Taliyah, okay, whatever, you end up with the Rumble. If you can make it work, fine. And the problem was they couldn't actually make it work. They had a great early lead off that pressure that they had and some better individual plays. But you get to see some of FlyQuest's strengths with their own team comp. And like you heard Jat saying at the end, that Cho'Gath gets absolutely ridiculous. If there's one power pick in this whole draft that we can identify, it is the Cho'Gath.
Right, exactly. And eventually, Camille becomes unstoppable, right? That's the nature of that champion. At 6 items, she's going to be very hard to deal with. Let's take a look at some gameplay. 23 minutes in, a 2-0 at the Baron for FlyQuest.
And this is what we were kind of saying about, Immortals should have won this game. Here's an example where they have great usage of their ultimates to set up a nice Baron attempt. Poppy knocks out the Cho'Gath, a little bit of zoning ultimate from Olleh here. They're in the Baron pit, they're kiting their way out. Flame goes aggressive to buy them some space to get out. And instead of just running up here completely, they continue to walk forward and take this fight. Pobelter gets way too far forward, is able to get jumped on as a result from balls, gets blown up, and you hear them talking about, well, what does FlyQuest do well with their comp? They single out a target and they kill them. This time they continue to chase onto Flame and they get a second kill. And this stalled out what should have just been a very clean Baron, turn, back off, start using the split map pressure that you should have with the fact that you're winning, and the Baron to just keep taking objectives.
Again, you see elements of what makes Immortals a superior team, or just a very strong team in that Baron dance around using the Poppy ultimate to get the Cho'Gath out of steal range, as well as using the support Kennen to just zone the rest of the members. Great, we've secured the Baron, but then there's that split-second decision-making where they're unsure about whether or not they should fully commit to the fight, as opposed to just use Flame as a distraction to get out.
Yeah, and when you have those kind of split calls, that's where things start looking really, really bad for them. And it was a little bit kind of a throwback to what we saw out of old Immortals a little bit last split, where they had some early game leads. You know, Dardoch would pop off really hard in the early game, but come late game team fight decision-making, it did start to fall apart.
Let's look at 34 minutes in, 5-for-1 in favor of FlyQuest again. This is while Immortals still has the advantage, still has the Baron, and they lose this fight.
The big problem here is that they open up onto Moon for the most part. He walks forward, becomes a big, tanky, distracted front line. They kick him down to half health, but that's Gargoyle Stoneplate. He's able to absorb enough damage before he goes down, as well as the fact that he was able to get a Devour off. They get them very low, and then the Camille comes flying in over the top, and they're able to start taking down these members one at a time, as the team comp got very split up after they initially got that kill onto Moon.
Well, and that's the big thing, right? You're running a comp with only one true frontliner in the Poppy. She's late to the fight even. And so all of your backline threats are getting zeroed out like it's nothing from FlyQuest, while the Cho'Gath absorbs on their side.
Right, and yes, both teams only do have one frontliner, but the thing is that you have so much easier time with balls eventually being able to jump in and have all this outplay potential against the Taliyah, who is going to become very, very exposed if she's caught out there, and that's what you saw in that kind of mid lane, as well as the fact that Jhin can easily contribute to a team fight from the backside. Same with TF, he can pour it on top of somebody, and overall, both team comps are things I would not say I'm a big fan of. I think we saw a very weird draft out of both of these teams. They both have elements that I like, but for the most part, I mean, you got to talk about LemonNation having a great game, with that Janna pick being one of the key things to keep people alive.
Right, not the only person to bring up Janna. It's been played in the LCK. It's been played here as well in North America. So gaining some popularity in the wake of, you know, Thresh's, Tom Kench's, and Brahms. Can we talk about some of the merits of this champion and why in the heck it is good?
So two things really happen. One, the bot lane meta change. We no longer see very harass-heavy supports. Janna always struggled against them because even though she has that shield, it gets broken off pretty easily, and then she keeps eating poke, and then with no sustain or poke to trade back off on her own, she becomes relatively useless. A lot more melee supports, a lot more just general playmaking supports, and she is a great tool for denying playmaking. So that's one of her benefits, as well as the fact when you have a lot of like tank frontliners, she actually is pretty good to keep them off of your backline. So kind of denying some of that engage, overall very strong. And then, you know, against Kennen, it was kind of taken, and it doesn't have a great matchup versus the Kennen, which is why things weren't going great. But overall, the champion is smart when you take it in response to a tank melee support. We'll see if Immortals can even up the score when we come back with Game 2 against FlyQuest. As we go to commercial, here's a look at the latest production from the Drive team, this time on our most recent player of the game, LemonNation.
I remember, like, I got known for bringing a notebook on stage with, like, you know, information about pick ban and what the other team plays, and that was a new thing somehow. Like, to me, that was, like, the most basic thing in the world. Like, why would you not write down a plan and bring it on the stage when you're at this super important tournament? But at the same time, because it was that way, it was such a great environment to just be friends and just have a good time.